There is a conversation that I just wanted to kind of bring up that's going on in chat about documentation making you expendable. And I just wanted to address that in stream, right? And I don't know how serious Shantanu is about this, but Shantanu brought it up, so here we go. I would argue that if not documenting how you do things makes you less expendable, then you're not actually a valuable employee. I'm sorry to say that, but your quality of work, the experience that you bring to the role should be what makes you a valuable employee, not gatekeeping how to do things. Because gatekeeping how to do things is exactly how you end up getting called when you're in the Bahamas on vacation because they forgot how to do a thing. So don't be that admin. I understand, believe me, I understand how it can feel good to be the one that everybody has to come to for that job because it makes you feel valuable. But the alternative is worse. I think the alternative is worse.
Yeah, and I worked at a place where there was another admin, his name was Sean, who predated me. Like he didn't work there when I worked there. And
Right.
I would occasionally run across really weird things and I like highlight it, be like, I found this thing in our population. They'd be like, oh, that was Sean. And I was like, what? Tell me about the Sean guy. And they're like, he's a lone wolf. He just ran off and did things. And he did
Right.
them. He wanted to do them. He didn't document any of them. And we just like ran into these random things because that's the decision that was made by Sean. So the fact that I know Sean, even though I never worked with him, is telling. The other thing is documentation making you expendable, I think is not entirely accurate because there's also like how long things take. And when you're an expert, you do things very quickly. And if you write them
Right.
down, you can actually get other people to do them, which is great, leading you to be able to apply your expertise in other places.
Right.
The other thing is what happens if you leave? And I've seen this a bunch of places too, where the person who did all the things didn't document anything and then they left. And the new person who was hired in had to figure out how all the things worked. And that meant that every time something happened, like a user account needed to be created, they would have to do hours and hours of research on the existing infrastructure to figure out what's actually required to perform that task. And that's for something as silly as like adding a user.
And I've had to do those things, and sometimes it can be exhilarating, like a little treasure hunt that you're on, right? But if it's impeding how you get the job done, then even if you're enjoying the hunt, right, it's still wasting time and money for the business you work for.
Well, in a like longer reaching thing, as it is become apparent that everything was not documented and everything kind of hinged on that one person doing all the things and no one else knows how to do the things, how do you think that employer's opinion of that person is
Right.
after they leave?
Right. Right.
Right? Because they left them in a bad space where they couldn't recover easily from that person leaving. Or what do you think the person who's hired to replace them? Do you think they're going to want to work with the person who left before them and left them that like pile of undocumented, unmaintainable stuff? Our industry is surprisingly small, especially in like local labor markets. So
Yeah.
I know a good amount of the Linux administrators in my area. And so, like, if I walked in and somebody was like, hey, we're about to hire this guy named Sean, what do you think? I'd be like, Sean that worked at this other place? Yeah, hard pass.
No, don't hire Sean.
But like, if you leave your stuff in a good situation and who comes in after you is able to get going and you keep your reputation with your previous employer and the employees at the previous employer, like all of a sudden you're a great person to work with and you'll be recommended for things.